Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. As Dr. Gunlock said, my name is Mike Burke. I'm the superintendent. I am joined here. We almost have a quorum today. We've got three of our board members here: Chairman Barbieri, Vice Chair Karen Brill, and Board Member Barbara McQuinn, as you heard from earlier. And this is no coincidence. We've had a couple challenging years, so we now travel in a pack. So we each look out for each other, and I'm always in good company. But I appreciate this opportunity just to tell you a little bit more about our school district and about the referendum that's coming up on the ballot on November 8th. We've got a few slides to share with you. It's not too much. I want to go all PowerPoint on you, but just information to share. This is our kind of district overview, quick facts at a glance. As Dr. Gunlock said, the district's been around for a while. We were founded in 1909, so that's about 113 years. And we're celebrating Lake Worth High this year. We actually had S.D. Spady Elementary down in Delray is 100 years old. And then I believe Lake Park is next on the list. That might be next year. We are a big district. We are 10th largest in the nation. We're only 5th largest in Florida. So Florida's kind of, school districts align with counties in Florida. We're an independent school board. The county has their own government, but our boundaries align with the county. So that by that kind of design, that puts Florida with a lot of big districts, and then Texas and other ones. But so 10th in the country. Our total budget, all funds, is nearly $5 billion now this year. We serve about 168,000 students in our district-operated schools, the ones that fall under our board. And then we have about 50 charter schools that serve another 23,000 kids. We've got nearly 13,000 teachers. We celebrated our highest graduation rate ever last year at 95.9%, which has risen steadily. Risen steadily over all of our board members' terms. 66% of our schools are rated either A or B, which is pretty good, and we want to keep working on that. We're now up to 180 schools. We opened a brand new school, Blue Lake Elementary down in Boca this year. It's beautiful. That brought us to 180. We got a workforce of nearly 23,000 full-time employees, plus another about 5,000 part-time ones. Substitutes, who we love. We've increased the pay since Dr. Gunlock left, so that job's gotten better. And they're critical to our system. But when you start adding in the part-time folks, we get closer to 30,000 employees. We got a fully accredited school police department that we continue to grow. We've got 335 choice and career technical programs. So that's something Palm Beach County leads the nation in. We offer a lot of choice within our system. So if a student's interested in a particular program, they're not necessarily bound to go to their home school based on their address and zip code. If there's a program that has their attention, they can apply to that, and we have a whole lottery system, and that process is getting underway very shortly for next year. We have a Showcase of Schools event at the fairgrounds. I believe it's in mid-October, and that kind of kicks off the process each year. And then our students we have a very culturally rich, diverse student population that represents 192 countries or territories across the globe. And we're proud that we were able to get to a 1-to-1 computer device ratio, which was forced really upon us. We had that in our plan. We had to expedite that plan with COVID a couple years back and make sure we get enough computers for all our students, and we've done that. So after a 2-year of hiatus from school grading, this past school year, 21-22, the State Department of Education did grade schools, and they graded districts. And we had been in A pre-COVID, and we were sweating out a little bit, how are we going to fare this year coming back? And we knew there was a lot of learning loss, unfinished learning. And I can tell you, last school year, it started out a little bumpy. We had the Delta variant kind of raging through. We were sending kids home 10 days at a time for quarantine, along with teachers. So that first semester, I felt like we lost a lot of instructional time. And then things kind of settled in after the winter break, and we had a really strong second semester. We got our stride back. We were in the groove. And we know this because we test our kids locally. We kind of do a diagnostic mid-year check-in, see how they're doing before they face the major state assessment testing. And we were a little alarmed. Our fears were kind of substantiated that, yes, these kids have really missed out on a lot. The distance learning, while we tried our best, it had left a lot of gaps. And we made incredible progress from January till May to really start catching kids back up. And that's evidenced by this A rating. We had learning gains. We had kids that still did very well. We still have work to do. I'm not saying we're not fully recovered, but to maintain that A rating, we're really proud of. And not everyone was able to do that. We are there's only 2 of the 7 large urban districts in Florida that are A rated. And then if you look across all 67 school districts, there's only 14 that are A rated. And if you just look closer to home here, if you start driving south this afternoon, when you get to past Palmetto Park Road, you might want to hit the brakes and turn around because you're going to run into a B district in Broward County. And then those of you heading north, it's kind of the same thing. Once you get to Jupiter, you might want to turn around because you hit Stewart, Martin County, that's a B-rated district. And then if you head out west, past the Glades, past Pahokee and South Bay, into Hendry County, that's a C-rated district. So I like to say, Palm Beach County is represented well. We're kind of a beacon right now. And again, obviously I'm proud of it. And that's a tribute to we got to start with our students, our parents, our teachers, our principals, the whole school teams, and then we've got a lot of support staff, and then of course our school board, and we try to do everything we can to support our schools and not get in their way. Let them do the job that needs to be done. I have a quick video. I hope it works. This is going to show some of those choice programs I talked about. Oh, we're not quite there yet. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I think I might have walked way too far. Before the video, when I was hired about a year ago to be superintendent, one of the things we did not have yet was a strategic plan. We had just finished a 5-year strategic plan under a prior administration. It had sunset, so it was time for a new plan. And our school board had crafted a new mission statement that I was able to kind of take on as the new superintendent. And that mission is to educate, affirm, and inspire each student in an equity-embedded school system. And I really like that mission statement because I can memorize it, and it's powerful when you break it down. We always think of educate, right? That's our bread and butter. That's our blocking and tackling. That's what we're really accustomed to doing, is the educational part, teaching the state standards so that the kids can pass the test and move ahead. But the affirm part, to me, I think really comes first. Affirm really means to make sure all of our students feel welcome and safe and nurtured on our campuses. And particularly in this environment, that's more important than ever. So to me, we first must affirm the students, and then the inspire. Hopefully we have something to offer the students that captures their attention, their imagination, something they get excited about, where they're inspired to pursue a path, pursue their education. Maybe it's a career technical program, maybe it's the arts, music, maybe it's a sport, athletics, or a club, but something that really kind of gets them excited about coming to school. And I feel like once we kind of get them inspired and capture their attention, they become more self-motivated, more inclined to put up with maybe some of the broccoli we must serve them, some of the standards that are not always that exciting, but they can start making that connection. So those three words have become the pillars of our strategic plan, and we now have a new plan the board recently approved by a unanimous vote, and that's going to guide as our North Star for the next 5 years. And that's critically important to our district because we rely heavily on our school leaders and our teachers to get the job done, but they do need that North Star. They need to know where the district's headed, what's important to us, and we're already seeing that take root in our schools as I'm out and about, where they're pushing to make sure the kids feel affirmed and inspired. So I'm excited about that. I think we skipped over a video, but the other thing we're really mindful of in Palm Beach County is that we want to prepare our learners to be tomorrow's leaders. And we work closely with some of the local business groups, the Economic Council, the Business Development Board, all of the chambers of commerce, from the North Chamber to the Boca Chamber, the Palm Beach Chamber. There's a number of them, Central Chamber, and Economic Council, if I said that, I'm not sure, and then Career Source. We partner with these agencies to let us know, where are the jobs emerging? What are the needs? We sit down with business leaders, and they tell us, what they're looking for, what they want to see. I met recently with the CEO of the Port of Palm Beach. He said, we need more bilingual students that know geography. I said, okay, we'll work on that. But we have a lot of industries that are emerging. Palm Beach County, as you read in the paper, Plenty of employers are now starting to relocate to our area with some well-paying jobs. We want to make sure our students are prepared for those opportunities and that they hopefully come back, maybe after college and live in Palm Beach County and support us into the future. So we want all of our kids to graduate both college or career ready. The old days when I was in school, they kind of tried to force you into a track, right? They'd say, Mike, you might want to think about a vocational technical program, and college may not be for you. Or another student, vice versa. We like to tell kids, hey, do both. We offer a bunch of industry certifications. They can get certified in Microsoft products, Adobe. You heard about the cybersecurity program you're going to visit on the bus tour. We have multiple cybersecurity programs because that is an area where, hey, there's plenty of well-paying jobs, and the kids like technology, and the earlier they get started on, the better. So the other thing I hope to build on with our business partnerships is not just designing our curriculum, but bringing them in to partner with us to do everything from providing internships for our students to externships for our teachers, and also to maybe provide some co-teachers. I will tell you, it is difficult when you have some of these high-demand occupations. It's hard to attract teachers that have that skill set that are willing to work for our salaries. They can command a much higher salary in the private sector. So what we're working to do more of is to have people that are in the industry maybe just spend some time with us, and put them aside along with one of our teachers that'd be the regular classroom teacher, but have kind of these adjunct type professors that can push into the classroom and make sure that we're staying up with the current technology. So a lot going on that front. Here's the video.
I'm so impressed with how this program's going. I'd heard already great things about it.
All right. Hey, did you see Guy Fieri in there from Diners and Dives? I don't know if you're familiar with the TV show, but he tours around to different restaurants, and usually once he goes to them, they become wildly popular. So he's now a resident, or at least a part-time resident of Lake Worth Beach, and he visited at Lake Worth High School and went in there and spent some time with our kids. And ever since he's been there, you cannot get a reservation. That cafeteria is booked. But all right, so my main subject today, of course, is our referendum. It's coming up quick on November 8th on Election Day, and Dr. Gunlock, I feel like, has done the heavy lifting today. She was awesome to explain, it's at the bottom of the ballot. It's county question number 2, so you do have to look for it. This is a snapshot of the ballot language itself. It's very similar, so just a little history here. This referendum was first passed in 2018. And it was supported overwhelmingly, I believe about 72% yes vote. And this was instrumental to the success of our school district. This allowed a 1 mil property tax levy that would pay for, to continue, we had 750 teachers that are in the fine arts, music, PE, choice, and career technical programs that are supported by this referendum. The big thing we added in 2018, we added really 3 new components. Prior to 2018, we had a 1/4 mil levy that had been supported since 2010, and that just covered the fine arts positions, those 750 teachers. That was done during the Great Recession when school budgets were getting slashed right and left across the state and across our country, and our school board wisely said, you know what, we need to protect the arts programs because those are the things that fall on the chopping block. You're mandated to provide the core curriculum. You're also mandated by constitutional amendment in Florida on class size. So that takes away a lot of flexibility with the budget. And that's why those programs are so susceptible to budget cuts. Our board did the wise things that were protecting the arts. And then in 2018, other challenges emerged. We were having a hard time, at the bargaining table, we would have a tough time meeting the needs of our teachers. They were bringing very valid concerns about they could not afford to stay in the profession. We need to do something to improve pay, recognize experience. So that was a joint collaboration with the Classroom Teachers Association. We developed a plan that, if we could have passed this referendum, we could improve teacher pay based on experience, so that for 1 year of experience, teacher earns additional $1,000. When they get to 5 years, that increases to $5,000 a year. And then when they hit 10 years or more, it goes up to $10,000, and then it stays $10,000. And those dollars count towards their ultimate pension benefit. It's part of their, we call it a referendum retention supplement, but it does count towards the Florida retirement system earnings. So that's very important to teachers as they, plan for retirement. So we added that, and then of course, in 2018, on February 14th of 2018, we had the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas tragedy just miles to our south in Parkland. And that prompted a whole new review of, what more do we need to do in terms of school safety? And then also a big part of that was what more do we need to do in terms of mental health to make sure that we're intervening and preventing tragedies before they occur, that we're meeting the needs of our kids. And so that has been instrumental. That has allowed us, this referendum, to put a mental health professional in every school. So all 180 schools have a dedicated mental health professional. And on top of that, we've contracted with 37 agencies across Palm Beach County that provide what we call multi-tiered systems of support. So if a student displays needs for a little more counseling than the school can handle with their staff, they have co-located therapists that can have ongoing treatment with the students. And then if they need even more help, we can line that up and get the services to the kids. So we had this in place, and after 2018, we were really fortunate to have it coming out of the pandemic, because what we saw was when kids came back from being home for a year and a half or so, the social emotional needs had grown. That isolation was not good for kids. So it was really good that we had this infrastructure in place, and now those staff members are busy and they're able to help kids and, again, try to prevent things from escalating into a more serious situation. This ballot language would cover us for the next 4 years. So continue is the key word in all of this. This is a 1 mil levy that you're already paying. We're asking voters just to please keep this going, and then we would have to come back in another 4 years by law. That's the maximum duration that we can go. And then the last piece of it was we enhanced our security. We've had a school police department for decades. We've grown it. We've doubled the size of that police department, and we continue to add new security enhancements. I'm going to jump ahead here. So I've kind of talked, I guess, a little ahead of myself here, but this is the slide again, just those 4 major categories: support mental health, improve teacher pay, enhance school safety, and keep arts and music education. And the school safety, that's an area where you're never finished, right? We had the Uvalde tragedy this summer. Fortunately, our school board had already taken the measure to continue on the ongoing effort to enhance security. In late May, they had approved the latest security measure, which is a hard panic button. It's called Centegix. You may have seen it in the news. It's a card of it looks like a badge, kind of like my badge here, that all employees wear on their lanyard, and it has a button on it. And if they press that button, they can press it in 2 different ways. They can press it to trigger that there's some type of emergency on the campus that's like health related. It just helped yesterday. A young student at elementary school had a seizure. The teacher hit their panic button, and we have it's 3 clicks if you just have like a school, something going on with a health issue, or if there was a fight maybe broke out with the kids the teacher felt they needed help with. They hit it 3 times. The system tells us their exact location. It alerts the school administration, and they got help immediately and were able to help treat that student for their seizure. If there's a more serious thing, if there was like a active shooter or an assailant on a campus and people are concerned about life safety, they click the button 8 times or more. We tell them just keep clicking it. It actually sets off some alarms within the school, some strobe lights. It notifies through 911 all local law enforcement, along with our own school police, the school administration. It puts the school into a lockdown, and it's a great system. It's not cheap, but we're really excited. So the board approved that in May, and we worked very hard to get that implemented over the brief 2-month summer. and we had that live in all our schools when we opened schools on August 10th. So that's just an example of what this referendum allows us to do. But I can tell you, talking to our teachers and our principals, they're very happy to have that additional measure on top of everything else we do, including, an officer, at least one officer on every campus. We have cameras in our schools, alarms, door locks, single point of entry. We're continually putting in more fencing. This year we started adding privacy screening to our fences because there was concern, particularly we're starting with our playgrounds, that we didn't want anybody that has bad intent looking in to our playgrounds. And we'll continue to, like I said, that work's never really done.
How do strong schools build strong communities?
Music fills me with joy, and I'm so thankful to be part of a school district that supports the arts.
Teachers don't get into this profession to make money. We get into it to impact students, to help students to be their best selves. So the referendum really helps teachers make those ends meet.
We are helping more students than ever who are struggling with pandemic-related mental health issues. Thanks to the 2018 referendum, we now have a behavioral health professional on every campus.
The district also has a sworn police officer on every campus. And thanks to the 2018 referendum, we have been able to greatly enhance our security, technology, and resources. That means a lot to me as an officer and as a parent.
4 years ago, our Palm Beach County community came together and approved the school district's 2018 referendum, making a commitment to ensure our quality of life moving forward by supporting our schools. Now, 4 years later, we have the opportunity to build on this work and keep our A-rated district educating, affirming, inspiring the next generation of leaders. On Election Day, November 8th, you'll find a question on the ballot impacting the future of Palm Beach County public schools. It's a referendum to continue the existing school funding that was approved by voters in 2018 and expires next year unless renewed by voters on November 8th.
Like the 2018 referendum, the 2022 referendum will continue to strengthen school security by funding police officers and other security personnel, and enhancing security equipment designed to keep our students, staff, and schools safe.
It will also continue to support student mental health by funding mental health professionals, school psychologists, social workers, and school counselors.
Again, this is not a new tax. The 2022 levy funding these initiatives would replace the current 1 mil levy that Palm Beach County voters approved in 2018. That means homeowners would continue to pay $1 for every $1,000 of assessed value of their home. Every dollar collected and spent will continue to be monitored by an independent oversight committee of local citizens, assuring that your money is spent for its precise designated purpose. Like the 2018 referendum, this measure would automatically expire in 4 years and could not be renewed without voter approval.
Strong schools,
strong communities.
Sponsored by the Palm Beach County School District.
I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Mike, why didn't you just play the video? That would have been easier. And anyway, the video I think really kind of is very informative. I'm glad I wasn't wearing the same suit when I shot the video. I'm always worried about that when it pops up. Just a few more things the video touched on are really important. I think part of the reason why we've enjoyed such a squeaky clean track record and there's never been any problems with our referendums here in Palm Beach County. We're committed to independent oversight. It's right in the ballot language that all dollars will be overseen by an independent advisory committee of citizens. So we've had that in place. They meet each quarter, they review how every dollar is spent, and we are bound by that ballot language. When we say we're going to spend it on art, music, PE, or security or mental health, that's the only areas we can spend the money. And the committee holds us to that. And we've never had an issue. So we keep that in place. And we now have charter schools. In 2018, when we brought this to you all and it was passed, we did not include charter schools. We just worried about district-operated schools. Charter schools are kind of independent. They have their own governing boards. But the law has changed since 2018. And we also had some litigation that resulted in us already beginning to share the funding with charter schools. So they get a share of it based on their enrollment, a proportionate share, and they are subject to our same oversight. So we've worked hard over the years to make sure we hold charter schools accountable, and we are making sure they're held accountable in terms of these dollars as well. And they welcome the funding, and they don't, there's not an issue when you say you can spend on teacher pay and art, music, and PE and security and mental health. There's been no challenges. I haven't had any issue where they're trying to stray away from that commitment. All right, sometimes I get the question, there's 2 referendums in Palm Beach County currently that impact schools. We have the operating revenue that I've been talking about, that 1 mil, that's a property tax. In addition, that supports those operating costs I talked about. We also have a capital projects budget. And we have 30 million square feet of air-conditioned space with those 180 schools. So we're big. And that space requires a lot of maintenance. And during the Great Recession, in an effort to cut taxes, the amount of tax levy that our local board could pass for capital improvements was reduced 25%. We used to have a 2 mil authority. It got cut down to 1.5 mil. That went on, that's never changed. And after about 8 to 9 years of that, it started in 2008 when we began cutting the millage. We had trouble keeping up with our maintenance, so we were having to defer some major facility maintenance like roofs, air conditioners, all that stuff. So by 2016, we said we got to do something about this. And we partnered with the county and the municipalities, and we did a 1 penny local government infrastructure surtax. So now the sales tax at that point went from 6 cents on the dollar to 7. That 1 penny, 50% of that 1 penny or half goes to the school district. We had a whole plan on how to spend the money, and we've held to that. But it's allowed us to really catch up on a lot of that maintenance, make sure our buildings were protecting really the taxpayers' investment. When we build a new school, we don't want to just forget about it. You've got to schedule out some major replacements over the lifespan of that building. So we are able to do that now. And as you're going to see in a minute, we've also been able to build some new schools. I mentioned Blue Lake earlier. We've got a brand new high school opening next year. This is going to be out on Lyons and Lake Worth Road area, kind of western Lake Worth. And we've named a principal, Mr. Oscar Otero. He's busy. The construction is well underway. And this will be the first new high school in Palm Beach County in quite a while, over 15 years. So we're excited about that. Well, right now, so we name, we use an alphanumeric coding. So yeah, right now it's the O fighting alphanumerics. That's my joke, but it's going to change. There's a committee that was just formed by board policy that represents the community, and they get together and they'll pick a new name here. Actually, they'll bring some recommendations to our school board, who has the ultimate choice. But probably within a month or two, we'll have a name for that school, and they'll pick their mascot and all that good stuff. And then we have another new middle school. And this is highly anticipated middle school out in the Western Boynton Beach area. It's in Miss Brill's district. This sits next door to Sunset Palms Elementary School, if you're familiar with that school. And this is middle school PP for now, but that, again, will also be changing soon. And the new schools are just incredible. I've toured Blue Lake a few times, and it's really nice when we work to bring the latest technology into all of our schools. And the new schools set the standard, and then we try to make sure we're getting that to all of our locations. All right, so just to kind of wrap up here, I am staying off of social media for my own mental health. I've been told not to look at it, and but our district is heavily available in social media and through a variety of ways. So this slide just kind of says, hey, we want you to stay in touch with us. We have a website that's got all kinds of information, including a bunch of more detail on the referendum. We are on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. So look us up if you're out there.